Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. Great to have you along. This episode brought to you by AMC Urgent Care. And we're joined by soccer coach Ben Steichen now. And Coach, good to have you along.
No, appreciate you having me.
Hey, this has been a year you kind of knew going into it. You didn't have a lot of combined starts with the players you're going to throw out there. And this is a learning year in a way. You kind of expected it. I know you're wanting to get victories, but a lot of kids getting valuable playing time.
Yeah, we always hope for the best, prepare for the worst, but we felt like things would go a little bit differently even with that. Some guys had gotten some PT last year. But yeah, overall, we've had guys had to step into some roles. We've really kind of struggled having a constant lineup as well due to injuries and sickness this year. That really kind of hurt as well. I think in 12 games, we've had 10 different starting lineups, which is always one of those things that you're trying to get some sort of unity going with it. But it's just kind of been a struggle throughout the year.
Yeah, well, and you look at this, we talk about valuable playing experience. So how are these guys that maybe haven't been on the field a lot progressing? Are they you feel like getting better the more they're getting?
Yeah, the older guys, they're shaking rust off as we're going into it. They're starting to kind of come back into what they're capable of doing. And those young guys, they have some talent, but now they're having to see the speed and the physicality of the varsity game as opposed to their age group that they play in club. And so they're getting a chance to see that. And you're seeing some of those guys feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more confident. So when they go ahead and they make plays, you're seeing that's happening more often for them.
You speak of that, we talk about that in all sports, the jump from when you go from 8th or even ninth grade into varsity and the difference in speed and the athleticism. What's that like in soccer? Like, is it a considerably big jump compared to like a football or a basketball or anything like that?
It really can be. I think you're looking at same things, everything else. Those other sports, maybe the size might be a little bit different, but no matter what, we usually schedule varsity matches against lower class teams for our JVs. And so they see it there, and you really get the chance to say, hey, you're not just playing freshmen, you're playing seniors and juniors. They may not have the talent, but that athleticism is going to be there. So it's very similar in a lot of those aspects, but you're going to have a little bit of difference when you get into 6A varsity because of the abilities and the technical.
All right, you got those few upperclassmen, but talk about those guys that they're stepping up, but also the others that are kind of leading this team and trying to make them better, because you need that coaching in the locker room, as they say.
Yeah, this year we got two captains, that were voted on by the team, and one's a senior and then one's a junior as you're going into it. The senior, Damian Pando, guys love me, loves his family. He loves the team like his family. Everybody's treated the same way with that one, and I think that's really, really big to kind of keep guys along and really push them and stay with them. And then you've also got Gio Cervantes, who's a junior, and the guys really respected his voice going through it. And so there's been there. But then we've got some other guys that are coaches on the sidelines as well. So, they're really trying to find their way and stay together, stay united with it, because it has been a rough season for guys that are used to winning games or they're used to doing better than they have. And now they're kind of put in this position that's different. So they're having to learn and go forward.
Yeah, what's the difference? You lost a lot of guys, but where are some of the spots where you maybe lost from last year that are making a difference?
A huge difference is going to be, of course, our leading scorer on the outside. We had a lot of speed with Caden Anderson, so that makes an impact when you don't have that same type of speed or that same drive towards the goal. But then it's driven in the middle. Really, we're returning one starter there, and we play three in the midfield a lot of times, and so they're kind of getting used to playing together, moving back defensively together as a unit. That's been a big struggle for us, and then going forward and just finding, hey, where's our open pockets? It's the spot on the field that seems to be the most noticeable. And so guys are having to step in that spotlight that aren't used to it, that are talented players, but now they're having to grow into this role a little bit differently.
One thing we talk about, I hear it in basketball all the time, right? Spacing. And soccer, it can be the same way. But the thing is, there's a whole lot more space out there. But that spacing is those are guys that are all playing at one, knowing where your rotation is, knowing when you need to go and make that cut. There's a lot of similarities when you talk about soccer. We talk about football all the time, right? But I really see a lot more similarities sometimes with basketball.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about it's kind of like a zone / a man a lot of times, and so like last night we played and we ran into some of the same problems. Sometimes we're not shifting with the guy, into our zone because our guy ran out of the zone unless we follow him. And there were times where we did a great job of handing that off and saying, hey, he's coming to you. And then there's other times where we're still kind of growing into it and we leave a guy unmarked as he comes into it. And so we're really trying to find that balance of being able to man mark and zone mark, go to, stay away from, stay in your area. And so it's just been one of those up and down as we've gone through. And that's really kind of caused a lot of our issues for the guys, and they're learning through it.
We talked about the inexperience this year and the guys you're playing. Who are some of those underclassmen who are starting to really step up and maybe you're hoping can fill some of those roles in these years to come?
First off, we've got a freshman that starts for us in the middle, Hondo Perez. He's getting some valuable experience. He's showing that he can play with that group right there. We've had, basically a new back line that is full of either a junior or a sophomore, Sammy Furman on the outside indeed. Then you've got Aiden Stevenson in the middle to kind of go with Adrian Perez, who started last year, and then also Connor Florer on the outside. So we got guys that are stepping into these roles a little bit that are a little bit more central. And then some younger guys we're waiting to see on the attacking side as we go through. But we also got split time with our goalkeepers, too. Evan Mills is a sophomore, splitting time with Wally Nishizawa, our senior goalkeeper. And so he's getting some playing time there, too, to figure that out.
All right, and this season, it's going by fast. It seems like. There's not a whole lot of games when you really look at it left on the schedule. You guys will have the rivalry coming up this Friday down at Stillwater.
Yes, yeah. We got done with our rivalry in Enid last Friday, and then we get to go travel to Stillwater for this one, and then finish off with 2 games. Our senior night, of course, next Tuesday night against Norman North, and then Broken Arrow on the road for their senior night on their Friday night. But Stillwater, we're looking forward to. We got the chance to see them a little bit in a tournament, but didn't really get to play them. So that's always one of those that we're trying to get back over that hump of, competitively being in those rivalry games.
Well, and it just seems like you rattle off the rest of the schedule. It's not for the faint of heart, as we talk about often with 6A soccer.
No. You've got Broken Arrow, who state finalists last year. You have Norman North, who won it 2 years ago. Our district has been really, really tough as we went into it. We found that out the hard way. A lot of speed, a lot of pace, a lot of ability as they go through. So it's been an interesting change of districts for us this year.
All right, now it looks like playoffs because you got to finish top 4. It's not like football; they switched to the 6. You got to finish top 4. Looks like that's going to be out of reach. But for what you want to accomplish the rest of the season, like what are the things that you really want to get out of the rest of the games you have this year?
Well, I think the first thing is we go back into life lessons with it. That's something that's really big with our coaching staff is that we talk about this to our guys that not everything's going to go right. You've got an opportunity to learn. You got an opportunity to grow. You got an opportunity to get better about things, but not everything's going to go exactly how you want to. So how do you adapt? How do you overcome? How do you change the way that you're doing things? So that's going to be first and foremost is just that resiliency. The next thing is just always continuing to get better about what we're doing, working in our trade. It's about that work mentality to say, hey, we're never done working. We're not going to just kind of give up on the season. We're going to want to keep getting better about our style, getting used to playing. We're going to continue to get plenty of playing time. We got plenty of games for JV all the way through the varsity, even in these last week and a half. So I think it really kind of comes down to the resiliency and the hard work mentality, and then heart. We're still working on all those things that really interplay together, and they are life lessons with it.
All right, so there you heard it. And get out there if you can, support them the rest of the year. And, of course, that rivalry coming up on Friday down in Stillwater if you want to make the short drive for that one. Coach, really appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you again on down the line.
Sounds good.
Coach Ben Steichen, this episode has been brought to you by AMC Urgent Care. That's going to do it. Until next time, Jordan Woodruff saying so long, and go Cats.